Listen to me. It's time to stop talking about it. Stop planning for it. Stop waiting for the perfect day. It's time to get it done. Too many of us are sitting on dreams, waiting on opportunities, waiting for somebody to give us permission. But success doesn't wait. Destiny doesn't wait. And life won't stop moving while you hesitate. You said you were going to finish that degree. You said you were going to start that business. You said you were going to get in shape. You said you were going to change your life. Well, it's time. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when things are perfect. Right now, it's time to get it done. Every excuse you've been using, no money, no support, no time, none of that is strong enough to stop a hungry heart. When you really want something, you don't look for reasons it won't work. You look for ways to make it happen. So, winners don't wait for the stars to align. They align themselves with the grind. Hear me. Procrastination is the graveyard where dreams are buried. Every day you delay, every time you wait, you're losing time. You can't get back. You wasted enough. It's time to move. It's time to push. It's time to execute. Some of you already have everything you need. The talent, the skill, the ideas, but you're lacking execution. Dreams don't work if you don't. You don't need another motivational video, another training, another seminar. What you need is action. What you need is consistency. What you need is to stop making excuses and start making progress. Life is short. Opportunities are limited. Nobody is going to hand it to you. You've got to take it. You've got to claim it. You got to fight for it. And the only way to do that is to get it done. So from this day forward, no more delays, no more waiting for the right time. The right time is now. The right person is you. The right place is wherever you stand. It's time to stop dreaming and start doing. It's time to stop wishing and start wishing and start working. It's time to get it done. You've been telling yourself for months, for years, that one day you're going to do it. One day you're going to get serious about your goals. One day you're going to start the business. One day you're going to get in shape. One day you're going to chase your dream. But I came here today to tell you the truth. That one day you keep talking about, it doesn't exist. There is no perfect day. There's no magic moment when everything lines up. When the money shows up, when the people support you, when the timing feels right. That's not how life works. If you're waiting for that, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. And while you're waiting, the clock is ticking, your opportunities are slipping, and the window of your dream is closing a little more every single day. Stop waiting. Stop waiting. Start now, because the perfect time is amid. See, we like to trick ourselves. We say, I'll start when the kids are older. I'll start when I save more money. I'll start when the economy gets better. I'll start when people finally understand me. But the truth is, those are just excuses wrapped in a nice little package so you can sleep better at night. The real problem is fear. Fear of failure. Fear of rejection. Fear that you're not ready. And so you disguise fear as preparation. You disguise fear as plan. You disguise fear as waiting for the right time. But deep down, you know you're just running from the moment you're supposed to step into. I've met too many people who went to the grave with their dreams still locked inside them because they were waiting. Waiting for a chance, waiting for permission, waiting for a sign. And do you know what the graveyard is? It's the richest place on earth. Buried, their businesses never started, books never written, inventions never created, songs never sung, and lives never lived. Why? Because people thought they had time. They thought the perfect moment was coming. They thought tomorrow was promised, but tomorrow was not promised. Yesterday is gone. The only thing you have is right now, and you're wasting it if you keep waiting. You got to understand something. Time is the most valuable currency you will ever have. Money can be replaced. Opportunities can come again. But time, once it's gone forever. Every day you hesitate is a day you never get back. Every month you delay is a month that could have been full of progress. Every year you push things off is a year you could have been living in your purpose. I need you to stop waiting for the clock to strike midnight like some fairy tale. Life is not a fairy tale. The ball is already going on. The music is already playing. And you're standing on the sidelines because you keep telling yourself you're not ready. Let me tell you something. You're never going to feel fully ready. Readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. Some of you think you need more degrees, more certifications, more training, more approval from people. But let me be honest, you've already got enough to start. You've already got enough to move. You've already got enough to take the first step. Will it be perfect? No. Will you make mistakes? Absolutely. Will you stumble? Yes. But the only way to learn to walk is by stumbling forward. The only way to build confidence is by doing. The only way to know if you can swim is by getting in the water. Stop waiting at the edge of the pool talking about one dive. You'll dive in. Today is the day. I know what some of you are saying. But you don't understand. My situation is different. I've got real obstacles. I don't have the support. I don't have the resources. I don't have the environment to succeed. And I'm telling you right now, those are not reasons to wait. Those are reasons to start. The worse your circumstances, the more urgent your movement needs to be. If your back is against the wall, why are you sitting down? If you're broke, why are you comfortable? If you're behind, why are you waiting for a perfect time? There's no perfect time when you're down. The perfect time is now, because waiting will only make you fall further. Think about it. Every person you admire, every success story you ever heard, they didn't start when things were perfect. They started when it was messy. They started when they were broke. They started when people doubted them. They started when it didn't make sense. They started when they had more questions than answers. But the difference is, they started. That's it. That's the whole secret. They started before they felt ready, and the act of starting made them ready. You're sitting there thinking, oh, one day I'll be confident enough to try. No, the trying is what gives you confidence. You're thinking, one day I'll be strong enough to endure. No, enduring is what makes you strong. You don't wait to become the person you need to be. You become that person by taking action right now. And here's the part that hurts. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. Because every day you delay, you lose momentum. Every time you push it off, you reinforce the habit of procrastination. And every time you convince yourself you need to wait, you strengthen the voice of fear in your head. Do you know why it feels harder now than it did 5 years ago? Because you trained yourself to delay. You taught yourself to hesitate. You made waiting your comfort zone. And the only way to break that cycle is to act right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when things are calmed down. Right now. Stop telling yourself you'll start when life slows down. Life is not going to slow down. There will always be bills, always be stress, always be distractions, always be people who don't believe in you. If you keep waiting for life to get easier, you'll be waiting forever. Success is not about the absence of problems. It's about the presence of commitment. You've got to commit to moving forward in the middle of chaos, in the middle of doubt, in the middle of doubt, in the middle of challenge. That's when breakthroughs happen. Let me paint the picture. You've got a dream sitting inside you like a seed. But seeds don't grow just because you keep talking about them. Seeds don't grow because you plan for years how to plant them. Seeds don't grow because you're waiting for the perfect season. Seeds grow when you put them in the dirt, when you water them, when you expose them to the sun, when you let them fight through the soil. Some of you have been holding seeds for 10 years, talking about it, someday I'll plant this. No, put it in the ground now. It won't grow in your pocket. It won't grow in your notebook. It won't grow in your imagination. It only grows when you take action. You got to decide right now that enough is enough. You planned enough. You dreamed enough. You talked enough. Now it's time to move. Even if you're scared, move. Even if you don't know all the steps, move. Even if you don't have everything figured out, move. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. I don't care what excuses you've been holding on to. I don't care what lies fear has been whispering in your ear. The truth is simple. The longer you wait, the less likely you'll ever do it. The sooner you start, the sooner you'll see results. So I'm challenging you today. No, I'm begging you, stop waiting. Whatever it is you've been putting off, do it. Take the first step. Make the call. Send the email. Write the first page. Go to the gym. Start the channel. Launch the business. Enroll in the class. Don't let another day slip away while you wait for perfect conditions that don't exist. The only condition that matters is your decision. And once you decide, once you move, once you take action, everything else will begin to line up. Because here's the truth. Opportunities don't show up before you start. They show up after you start. Clarity doesn't come before you take the step. It comes while you're walking. Resources don't appear before you begin. They appear as you prove you're serious. Life rewards movement, not waiting. Faith is about walking even when you can't see the full path. Courage is about starting even when you're shaking. Discipline is about showing up even when you don't feel like it. And greatness is about doing it now, not later. So no more one day, no more when the time is right. No more waiting for approval, waiting for support, waiting for permission. You are the permission. You are the right time. You are the moment you've been waiting for. It's not about tomorrow, it's about today. It's not about next year. It's not about next year. It's not about later, it's about now. Stop waiting. Start now. Because the perfect time will never come. But this moment right here is good enough. You've got to stop lying to yourself with excuses. Excuses sound good. They sound logical. They even sound logical. They even sound convincing, Zos. You've been saying you don't have enough time, but let's be real. You've got the same 24 hours in a day as everyone else. You've been saying you don't have enough money, but the truth is you're wasting what you already have. You've been saying you don't have support, but the reality is you're waiting for validation from people who don't even believe in themselves. Excuses are nothing but stories you tell yourself to justify why you're not where you're supposed to be. But stories don't build empires. Excuses don't pay bills. Excuses move you forward. Every time you make an excuse, you're stepping further away from your dream and closer to regret. You've got to keep excuses like your life depends on it, because it does. Your future depends on it. Your future depends on it. Your family depends on it. Your legacy depends on it. Excuses are the chains that keep you locked in the same place year, complaining about how life isn't fair. Watching other people win while you stay stuck. Every time you say, I can't, or I don't have enough, I'm waiting for the right time. You're choosing chains over freedom. You're choosing comfort over growth. You're choosing failure over success. And I don't care how good it sounds in your head. No excuse in the world is powerful enough to stop somebody who's truly hungry. When you're hungry, you don't see obstacles, you see opportunity. When you're hungry, you don't talk about what you don't have. You work with what you do have. When you're hungry, you don't wait for the conditions to be perfect. You move in the middle of the storm. Think about it. People who come from nothing, people who were born into poverty, people who didn't have the luxury of waiting, they didn't have the option to make excuses. They had to grind, they had to push, they had to fight. And because they refused to be held back by excuses, they turned their pain into power. Excuses are seductive because they let you off the hook. They give you permission to stay where you are. They tell you it's okay not to try, not to risk, not to put yourself out there. They let you feel justified in your failure. But listen to me, every excuse you make today is going to become your regret tomorrow. You're going to look back and realize you had the chance, you had the ability, but you wasted it. You wasted it waiting for things to be easier, waiting for the perfect setup, waiting for someone to hand you success. And when that day comes, you won't be able to go back and undo it. You'll have to live with the fact that excuses stole your destiny. Let me break it down. Money is not your problem. There are people who started with nothing, who built million-dollar businesses out of a garage, who created careers with nothing but a cell phone and a Wi-Fi signal. No money is not a reason, it's a situation. And situations can change when you grind. Time is not your problem. There are people with kids, jobs, responsibilities who still find the hours to chase their dream. They wake up earlier, they stay up later. They stay up later, they sacrifice the distractions you cling to. Lack of support is not your problem. The truth is, you don't need a crowd cheering you on. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need to believe in yourself enough to keep moving until the results speak for themselves. The only problem you have is excuses, and excuses will rob you blind. They will take your ambition, they will drain your energy, they will steal your hope, and they will make you settle for a life far beneath your potential. Excuses will convince you to stay at that job you hate because it's safe. Safe. Excuses will convince you not to apply for that promotion because you might get rejected. Excuses will convince you not to start the business because it might fail. Excuses will convince you not to love again because you got hurt before. And if you let excuses run your life, you will never know what you're truly capable of. You've got to look yourself in the mirror and be honest. Stop saying you don't have time Admit that you're wasting time. Stop saying you don't have money. Admit that you're mismanaging the money you've got. Stop saying you don't have support. Admit that you're afraid to be misunderstood. Stop saying you're waiting for the right moment. Admit that you're scared of failing. Because the moment you kill the excuses is the moment you take back your power. As long as you keep making excuses, you're powerless. You're at the mercy of your circumstances. But when you say no more excuses, you put yourself back in control. Here's the truth. Excuses and success cannot live in the same house. One of them has to go. If you want success, you got to evict excuses. If you want excuses, you got to evict success. You cannot have both. You cannot hold on to excuses and reach greatness at the same time. Greatness demands accountability. Greatness demands ownership. Greatness demands that you take responsibility for your life, for your actions, for your results. And until you do that, you'll stay stuck. I know some of you are listening right now thinking, but it's really hard for me. And I'm not denying that. Life is hard. Circumstances are hard. Struggles are real. But hard is not an excuse. Hard is the price you pay for greatness. Hard is the weight you have to lift to get stronger. Hard is the road that leads to the destination you want. Don't use a hard as your reason to quit. Use a hard as your reason to keep going. Because if it's hard, that means it's worth it. If it's hard, that means it's going to separate you from everybody who quit. If it's hard, that means it's going to build the strength, the character, the resilience you need to sustain success when you get there. Excuses are cheap. They cost nothing to make, but they cost everything to keep. And the price is your destiny. The price is your potential. The price is your dream. Every excuse you make adds another brick to the wall between you and your purpose. Every excuse you make digs the hole deeper that you've got to climb out of. And if you don't stop now, you're gonna bury yourself under excuses until you can't even see a way out. So today has to be the day you declare war on excuses. No more I don't have time. No more I don't have money. Money. No more nobody supports me. No more I'm not ready. No more one day. You got to stand up and say enough. I refuse to let excuses run my life. I refuse to let excuses steal my dream. I refuse to let excuses write my story. Your story is supposed to be one of victory, not victimhood. And the only way to write that story is to stop making excuses and start making progress. When you kill excuses, something amazing happens. You stop waiting and you start doing. You stop blaming and you start building. You stop wishing and you start wishing and you start working. And once you start working, once you start grinding, once you start moving forward with no excuses holding you back, doors begin to open. Open opportunities begin to appear. People begin to notice. Momentum begins to build. But none of that happens until you stop hiding behind excuses. So the question is, are you going to keep letting excuses run your life? Or are you going to rise up and take control? Are you going to keep telling yourself why you can't? Or are you finally going to prove to yourself that you can? Are you going to keep living in the prison of excuses? Or are you going to break free and live in the power of accountability? The choice is yours, but understand this: every day you keep making excuses is another day you'll never get back. And every day you choose to kill excuses and take action is a day closer to your dream. You got everything you need to win, but you'll never see it until you stop focusing on what you don't have. You got everything you need to change, but you'll never use it until you stop convincing yourself you're not ready. You got everything you need to succeed, but you'll never tap into it as long as you're hiding behind reasons and waiting for permission. Waiting for permission. Excuses are the only thing standing between you and the life you want. Kill them, destroy them, eliminate them, because the moment you do, the moment you finally take full responsibility, is the moment your whole life begins to change. Procrastination is the silent killer of dreams. It doesn't come into your life with loud alarms or warnings. It sneaks in quietly. It convinces you with sweet words that say, you can do it tomorrow. You can do it later. There's still time. And you buy into that lie because it feels comfortable. You convince yourself that delaying is harmless, that pushing things off isn't a big deal. But the truth is, every time you delay, you're digging a grave for your goals. Procrastination is the graveyard where your potential is buried alive. Think about it. You said you would start that business 3 years ago. You didn't. You said you finished that book last year, but you did. You said you get back in shape, learn that skill, go back to school, start that project, but you did. And every time you said, I'll do it tomorrow, tomorrow came, and you repeated the same cycle. Tomorrow turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and months turned into years. And here you are, still waiting, still planning, still thinking, still preparing, but not executing. That's what procrastination does. Tricks you into thinking you're safe because you haven't quit. But you don't realize you've been quitting in small pieces every day you delay. Understand something? Life doesn't wait for you. The world doesn't stop moving because you're taking your time. Opportunities don't sit around forever waiting for you to be ready. They pass by. They move on to the person who is willing to act, the one who doesn't hesitate. When you procrastinate, you give away your chances. You hand them over to someone else who's hungrier than you. You're losing time you'll never get back. You're losing moments that could have transformed your life. You're losing opportunities that will never come around again. Procrastination feels safe, but it's dangerous. It feels comfortable, but it's destructive. It feels harmless, but it's deadly. It kills your momentum. It weakens your discipline. It eats away at your confidence. The more you procrastinate, the more you start to doubt yourself. You begin to believe you're not capable, not worthy, not strong enough. Not because it's true, but because procrastination robbed you of the chance to prove otherwise. And let's be real, you're not procrastinating because you're busy. You're not procrastinating because you don't have time. You're procrastinating because you're scared. You're afraid of failing. You're afraid of making mistakes. You're afraid of people judging you. You're afraid that you're trying, it won't work. And instead of facing that fear head on, you let procrastination whisper lies in your ear. Let it convince you to wait just one more day. But that day never ends. That day turns into a lifetime. And then you wake up one day with regret. Regret is heavier than any failure. Failure teaches you something. Failure builds you. Failure shapes you. But procrastination doesn't give you the dignity of failure. It robs you of even trying. And regret is the weight of what could have been. Regret is the pain of realizing you had the chance, you had the ability, you had the dream, but you buried it with delays. Procrastination hands you regret on a silver platter and forces you to live with it for the rest of your life. Look at the greats, the people you admire, the ones you call successful. They're not superhuman. They didn't have perfect circumstances. They didn't have a guarantee. The difference between them and everyone else is that they acted. They moved when others hesitated. They worked when others delayed. They pushed forward when others waited for the perfect time. And because they refused to procrastinate, they got ahead. While others were still planning, they were producing. While others were still thinking about it, they were doing it. And that doing is what separated them from the pack. You can't afford to keep procrastinating. Time is the most valuable thing you have, and procrastination wastes it. You think you have time, but you don't. Every day you wake up is a day closer to the end. You don't know how many days you got left. You don't know how many opportunities you'll get. So why would you waste one more second waiting? Why would you let procrastination steal from you when you already know it gives nothing back? The truth is, procrastination is a habit. The more you practice it, the better you get at it. Every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, you're training yourself to avoid. You're teaching your brain that avoiding discomfort is more important than achieving your goals. And once procrastination becomes your default response, it's harder to break. But just like you can train yourself into procrastination, you can train yourself out of it. You can create the habit of action. You can decide that no matter how you feel, no matter what fears you have, you will take the first step. And once you take the first step, the next step becomes easier. Easier action builds momentum, and momentum destroys procrastination. Ask yourself, how much longer are you going to wait? How many more days are you going to let slip by? How many more chances are you going to throw away? You've already lost enough time. You've already delayed long enough. It's time to wake up and face the truth. Procrastination has been robbing you. It's been robbing your family. It's been robbing your legacy. And the only way to stop it is to act now. Not later, not tomorrow, now. You don't need a full plan to start. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to know every step of the journey. What you need is to move. Start where you are with what you have and do what you can. Progress is better than perfection. Movement is better than waiting. Imperfect action will take you further than perfect plans sitting on a shelf. You've got to stop analyzing and start executing. You've got to stop waiting for clarity and start creating clarity by moving forward. There are people counting on you to stop procrastinating. Your family is counting on you. Future is counting on you. Your future is counting on you. The people you're meant to impact are counting on you. Every day you delay, you're not just hurting yourself. You're hurting everyone connected to your destiny. Because the truth is, your dream isn't just about you. It's about the lives you're supposed to touch, the people you're supposed to help, the difference you're supposed to make. And as long as you keep procrastinating, you're robbing them too. Imagine the power of what would happen if you started today. Imagine the momentum you would build. Imagine the growth you would experience. Imagine where you could be in a year if you stopped putting it off and started doing the work. 1 year from now, you could either be living in the results of your action or sitting in the same place, making the same excuses because procrastination kept you chained. The choice is yours. The clock is ticking whether you act or not. You can't pause life. You can't press rewind. You can't ask for extra time at the end. All you can do is use the time you've been given. And every time you procrastinate, you're throwing away a piece of that time. Don't keep doing that. Don't keep wasting the one thing you can never get back. So right now, not tomorrow, not next week, right now, you've got to make the decision to kill procrastination. No more waiting, no more delays. No more putting off what you know needs to be done. Make the call, send the email, write the page, go to the gym, take the step, whatever it is, do it today. Because procrastination has stolen enough from you already. Don't let it steal another second. The graveyard is full of dreams that died because of procrastination. Don't let yours be one of them. Don't let your potential be buried under excuses and delays. Don't let your story be one of regret. Choose to act. Choose to move. Choose to break the chains of procrastination and step into your destiny. Because at the end of the day, you don't get remembered for what you said you were going to do. You get remembered for what you actually did. And you can't do anything tomorrow. You can only do it today. Stop procrastinating. Start executing. Your future depends on it. Your dream depends on it. Your life depends on it. There comes a point in every person's journey where planning, strategizing, and preparing must give way to action. Too many times, people stay stuck in the cycle of overthinking and waiting for the perfect moment, when in reality, there's no such thing as the perfect time. Waiting for everything to align flawlessly is simply an illusion that keeps you from making progress. Life doesn't reward those who wait forever. It rewards those who dare to take action, even in the face of uncertainty. Execution is what separates dreamers from achievers, and it is what transforms vision into reality. Without execution, ideas remain locked in the realm of potential, never experiencing the light of day. That is why the most critical step in any pursuit is execution. Getting up, doing the work, and refusing to stop until the job is complete. When you think about execution, it's not about moving fast without thought. It's about moving with intention, determination, and consistency. You could have the best plan, the most detailed strategies, and even the strongest desire. But if you never execute, nothing changes. A person who executes with discipline, even without perfect resources, will always outshine the one who has all the tools but never acts. Execution is the equalizer, the force that bridges the gap between talent and results. Think about athletes. Talent might give them a head start, but it is execution, showing up at the gym, sticking to the training routine, pushing through fatigue, that creates champions. You cannot simply think your way to success. You must act your way there. Execution is also about breaking down the intimidating mountain of your goals into actionable steps and consistently knocking them down. Too many people get paralyzed by the size of their dreams. They say it's too big, it's too far, it's too much. But execution demands that you focus on what you can do today, right now, in this moment. A skyscraper is built brick by brick, and a marathon is run step by step. You don't need to conquer everything at once, but you must start moving. Each small action compounds over time, and before you know it, the massive goal that once looked impossible becomes inevitable. It's persistence and execution. not perfection in planning that makes the difference. Another important aspect of execution is accountability. When you commit to executing, you must hold yourself accountable to the actions you said you would take. Many people love to make declarations. I'm going to start my business. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to finish my book. But execution requires that you put timestamps on your promises and measure yourself against real progress. If you say you'll wake up at 5 a.m. to work on your craft, then you execute by setting the alarm, getting up and doing it. No excuses. Execution demands honesty with yourself. It forces you to confront whether you are really moving or simply talking about moving. It's easy to tell yourself you are working on it, but true execution doesn't hide behind vagueness. It produces tangible results. Fear often stops people from execution, and that fear usually comes from the possibility of failure. But failure is not the enemy. It is part of the execution process. You will stumble, you will make mistakes, you will face setbacks. But here's the truth. Execution teaches you what no book, no seminar, and no plan can teach you. You learn by doing. Every failed attempt brings lessons, and every lesson refines your approach. If you never execute because you are afraid of failing, you deny yourself the chance to grow, improve, and ultimately succeed. The world doesn't reward those who never try. It rewards those who executed, adjusted, and kept going until they won. Execution also demands focus. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Social media, entertainment, endless scrolling, and noise from other people's opinions. Execution means cutting through the clutter and dedicating yourself fully to the task at hand. When you execute with focus, you create momentum. Momentum is powerful because once you start, it becomes easier to keep going. It's like pushing a heavy boulder. At first, it feels impossible, but with steady execution, the boulder starts rolling, and soon it moves with its own energy. Focused execution transforms effort into momentum, and momentum into unstoppable progress. But let's be clear, execution is not glamorous. It's not always fun, and it doesn't always give you instant gratification. Execution often looks like waking up early when you don't feel like it, working late when you're tired, showing up consistently when no one is cheering for you. It's grinding through the unexciting, repetitive, and sometimes painful tasks that others avoid. People often admire the finished product, the successful business, the fit body, the celebrated career, but what they don't see is the relentless execution behind it. Those who win in life are those who embrace the grind of execution, even when it wasn't exciting, even when no one was watching. Execution also builds confidence. Every time you follow through, every time you complete a task, every time you honor your own commitment, you reinforce the belief that you are capable. Confidence doesn't come from wishing or waiting. It comes from stacking up small wins through execution. When you execute daily, you build a track record of success that you can trust. You no longer wonder if you can do it. You know you can because you've proven it to yourself through action. That kind of confidence is unshakable, and it becomes the fuel for even bigger execution. On the other hand, lack of execution eats away at self-belief. Every time you say you'll do something and don't, you erode your trust in yourself. You begin to doubt your abilities, not because you're incapable, but because you consistently fail to execute. This creates a cycle of procrastination, self-doubt, and stagnation. The only way to break that cycle is by executing, taking action, even in small steps, and rebuilding that trust with yourself. Execution is the antidote to doubt. One more thing. Execution's not a one-time event, it's a lifetime. You cannot execute for 1 week and expect lifetime results. Execution must be built into your daily habit. Your routine, your way of living, is waking up each day with the mindset that you will move closer to your goals through deliberate action. Execution is not about intensity for a short burst. It's about consistency over the long haul. That's why those who execute relentlessly day after day eventually surpass everyone else. They may not be the most talented, the most skilled, or the most resourceful, but their consistency and execution makes them unstoppable. Ultimately, execution is the bridge between your dreams and your destiny. No one is going to hand you success. No one is going to do the work for you. Your vision is yours, and your execution must match your vision. You cannot expect extraordinary results from ordinary effort. You must be willing to act boldly, consistently, and persistently. Execution transforms their someday mindset into a today. It turns intentions into accomplishments. It takes you from imagining success to living it. And until you execute, your potential will remain just that. Potential untapped and unrealized. So, when you're faced with the choice between waiting and doing, choose execution. When you feel afraid, execute anyway. When you feel tired, execute anyway. When you don't see immediate results, keep executing. Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't remember what you plan to do, what you talked about doing, or what you hope to do. It remembers what you executed. And if you truly want to live the life you've envisioned, there is no other option but to execute. Failure is one of the most misunderstood concepts in life. Most people treat failure as the end of the road, as a sign that they weren't good enough, strong enough, or smart enough to succeed. They see it as permanent, as something to be ashamed of, as proof that their dream is impossible. But in truth, failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the process of success. Failure is the teacher, the refiner, the stepping stone that shapes you into the person capable of reaching your goal. Without failure, there is no growth, no resilience, no real achievement. Every great person who has accomplished something extraordinary has a history filled with failure. But what separates them from the rest is that they did not allow failure to define them. They used it, they learned from it, and they kept moving forward. When you fail, it doesn't mean you are finished. It means you are in training. Every failure is feedback, a message about what worked and what didn't, a signal about where you need to grow. But the problem is, most people take failure personally. They think, I failed, so I'm a failure. That is a lie. You are not your failure. It's an event, not an identity. If you touch fire and get burned, you don't stop living. You simply learn not to touch it again. The same principle applies to every area of life. When you fail in business, in relationships, in health, or in your personal goals, it's not a sentence of doom. It's a signal to adjust, to improve, to refine your approach. Failure is powerful because it strips away illusions. When things go wrong, you are forced to confront the truth about your effort, your discipline, your strategies, and even your mindset. Success often hides weaknesses because when things are going well, you stop to analyze yourself. But failure reveals everything. It shows you where you cut corners, where you lack consistency, where you ignore preparation. It forces you to face your blind spots. And as painful as that is, it is also priceless. Because once you see the truth, you can no longer hide from it. You can now make the changes that will make you stronger. Failure also builds resilience, and resilience is what separates those who quit from those who win. Life will test you, and those tests will often come in the form of failure. If you crumble the first time you fall, you will never go far. But every time you get back up after failing, you build mental toughness. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than your setbacks, that you can handle adversity. Resilience is not built in comfort. It is forged in the fire of failure. The more you fail and rise again, the more unstoppable you become because failure no longer has power over you. You stop fearing it, and when fear is gone, freedom comes. Another reason failure is essential is that it humbles you. Success can breed arrogance if it comes too quickly. You start believing you're invincible, that you don't need to prepare, that you got everything figured out. Failure crushes that illusion and brings you back to reality. It reminds you that you are human, that you still have much to learn, that you cannot rely on talent alone. This humility is not weakness, it is strength, because humility opens the door to grow. When you are humble enough to admit your mistakes, you become wise enough to learn from them. And that wisdom makes your next attempt more powerful. Failure also a filter. It separates the people who only like the idea of success from the people who are truly committed to it. Everyone wants to win until failure shows up. When things get hard, when progress slows, when setbacks mount, most people quit. They decide the dream wasn't worth it. But the ones who continue through failure prove that they are serious. They prove that their dream is not just a fantasy, but a calling. Failure weeds out the weak commitment and leaves only the strong, determined souls who are willing to pay the price. When you begin to see failure as part of the journey, you start to embrace it instead of avoiding it. Too many people play small because they're afraid of failing. They never take the leap, never try something bold, never risk stepping outside their comfort zone. They think staying safe protects them, but in reality, it limits them. By trying to avoid failure, they also avoid growth, opportunity, and greatness. Failure is not something to run from. It is something to face head on. The faster you fail, the faster you learn, and the faster you grow. Every failure is a step forward if you choose to see it that way. Think about inventors, creators, and innovators. Thomas Edison famously said he didn't fail 10,000 times while inventing the light bulb. He discovered 10,000 ways that didn't work. Each failure brought him closer to success. Imagine if he had quit after the first 100 or 500 or even 5,000 attempts. The world might still be in darkness. His story is proof that failure is not the end. It is the path. The same applies to athletes who train for years, failing again and again in practice before finally achieving victory in competition. Failure is rehearsal for success. Failure also gives you perspective. When you've tasted defeat, you appreciate victory more deeply. Success without struggle feels shallow, but success earned after countless failures is rich and fulfilling. The failures make the victory sweeter because you know the price you paid. They also keep you grounded, reminding you that you are not above falling again. Perspective is powerful because it keeps you hungry, humble, and focused, preventing complacency. Another lesson failure teaches is creativity. When one way doesn't work, you are forced to find another. Failure pushes you to think differently, to innovate, to stretch beyond your usual patterns. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history came not from smooth success, but from repeated failures that forced people to approach the problem from new angles. Creativity is born in struggle, and failure provides a struggle that sharpens the mind. Failure also toughens your emotional skin. The fear of embarrassment, judgment, or rejection holds many people back. But when you fail enough times, you realize the world doesn't end. People eventually move on, and your worth is not tied to public opinion. You stop worrying about what others think and start focusing on what matters. Your growth, your mission, your destiny. This emotional toughness frees you from the prison of people's approval and allows you to pursue your goals with boldness. But here's the key. Only becomes powerful if you respond to it correctly. If you quit, then failure has defeated you. If you blame others, then failure has blinded you. But if you take responsibility, reflect honestly, and keep moving forward, then failure has trained you. It's not about the fall, it's about what you do after the fall. Every failure can either bury you or build you, and the choice is always yours. Failure also teaches gratitude. When you have stumbled and struggled, you value progress more. Even small wins feel significant because you remember when you couldn't achieve them. Gratitude keeps you motivated because you no longer take progress for granted. You recognize how far you've come, and that recognition fuels you to keep going. Without failure, gratitude is shallow. With failure, gratitude is profound. Another truth is that failure builds character. Success might give you comfort, but failure shapes who you are. It molds your patience, your perseverance, your humility, your determination. It reveals your values, whether you will compromise for convenience or stand firm for your vision. It tests your integrity, whether you will cheat the process or stay true to it. Character is forged in fire, and failure is the fire that refines you. When you look at the lives of great leaders, entrepreneurs, athletes, and thinkers, you will always see failure in their story. What makes their story inspiring is not that they avoided failure, but that they refused to stay down. They treated failure as training, as preparation, as necessary experience. They understood that success is not built in spite of failure, but because of it. That is the mindset you must adopt if you want to achieve anything meaningful. So instead of fearing failure, you must embrace it. When you fall, don't waste time in shame or regret. Extract the lesson, apply it, and keep moving. When things don't go as planned, don't let discouragement stop you. See it as redirect. When doors close, don't see it as rejection, see it as protection, pushing you toward the door that is meant for you. Failure is not your enemy, it is your ally in disguise. Ultimately, failure is proof that you are trying, that you are daring, that you are into sitting safely on the sidelines. Those who never fail are those who never try. But those who fail often are the ones who grow, evolve, and eventually succeed. The question is not whether you will fail, it's whether you will keep going after you do. If you can rise from failure with determination, with humility, and with resilience, then failure will not break you. It will make you. It will make you. Time is one of the most valuable resources you have, yet it is also one of the most wasted. Unlike money, which you can lose and earn again, or opportunities, which may come back around, time never returns once it is gone. Every minute you spend is gone forever, and the way you use those minutes determines the quality of your life. That's why valuing your time is not optional. It is essential if you want to achieve anything meaningful. People who succeed at the highest level understand that time is their most precious asset, and they treat it with respect. They schedule it, they protect it, they use it wisely. On the other hand, those who squander their time on distractions, procrastination, and meaningless activities always wonder why success seems so far away. The truth is, success is not just about talent or luck. It's about how you manage the hours, days, and years you are given. When you begin to understand the power of time, you start to see that every choice you make carries weight. Waking up late is not just about sleeping in, it's about losing precious hours that could have been invested in growth. Spending hours scrolling on your phone is not just harmless entertainment. It's time stolen from your dreams. Saying yes to things that don't align with your goals is not just being polite. It's sacrificing progress for comfort. Every moment counts. The more you waste, the more you rob your future self. Valuing time means becoming intentional with how you live every day. It's asking yourself, does this bring me closer to my vision, or does it take me further away? One of the first steps in valuing your time is eliminating procrastination. Procrastination is the silent killer of dreams. It tells you that you can start tomorrow, that you can wait until you feel ready, that you have plenty of time. But tomorrow is never guaranteed, and readiness is a myth. The only time you have is now. Procrastination convinces you that you're being wise by waiting, but in reality, it's just fear disguised as caution. When you procrastinate, you're not preserving your time, you're wasting it. To value your time, you must break free from procrastination by taking action immediately, even if it's imperfect action. Done is always better than delayed. Valuing time also requires setting priorities. You cannot do everything but important things. Many people waste time not because they're lazy, but because they're busy with the wrong things. They fill their schedules with low-value activities, with tasks that don't move the needle, with obligations that don't serve their vision. Being busy is not the same as being productive. Valuing your time means identifying your top priorities, the activities that bring you closer to your goals, and giving them your best energy. It means saying no to distractions, no to unnecessary commitments, no to anything that doesn't align with your mission. Every yes to one thing is a no to something else, and wise people choose carefully. Another aspect of valuing time is protecting it from people who waste it. Not everyone deserves access to your time. Some people drain your energy, demand your attention, and offer nothing in return. If you allow them, they will consume your hours with gossip, negativity, and unproductive behavior. Valuing your time means setting boundaries. It means surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, challenge you, and push you forward, not those who keep you stuck. Your time is too precious to spend with those who don't respect it. Protecting your time is protecting your future. Valuing time also means using it to grow. The hours you spend learning, practicing, and improving are not wasted. They are investments. Time spent reading, studying, or developing your skills compounds into wisdom, competence, and mastery. But the opposite is also true. Time spent in idleness or distraction compounds into regret. Every day you are either investing your time or wasting it, and the results will show. 10 years from now, the difference between someone who valued their time and someone who squandered it will be night and day. One will be thriving and the other will be wondering where all the years went. Time is also about momentum. When you consistently use your time wisely, you create a rhythm of progress. Every day builds on the last, and soon you're moving faster than you imagine. But if you waste your time, you constantly reset to zero. You take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. You never build momentum because you never string together enough disciplined days. Valuing time is about consistency, showing up every day, doing the work, stacking up small wins until they turn into massive results. Another truth about time is that it is unforgiving. You cannot cheat time. You cannot fast forward it or rewind it. You cannot buy more of it, no matter how wealthy you become. Everyone is given the same 24 hours. And what you do with them defines your destiny. That's why comparing yourself to others is pointless. You may not have their resources, their connections, or their advantages, but you do have the same number of hours in a day. The question is not what they do with their time. The question is what you do with yours. Valuing time also means living with urgency. Not recklessness, but urgency. It's recognizing that tomorrow is not promised, that opportunities don't last forever, that your window to make an impact is limited. Too many people live as though they have endless time, as though they can always start later. But later often becomes never. Urgency doesn't mean rushing. It means refusing to delay what matters. It means acting today, not someday. It means realizing that the clock is always ticking and the best time to move is now. Another way to value time is by being present. Too often people waste time not just by doing the wrong things, but by not fully engaging in what they are doing. They're at work but distracted, with family but on their phone, pursuing goals but half-heartedly. Valuing time means being all in, wherever you are. When you're working, give it your full focus. When you're resting, rest deeply. When you're with loved ones, give them your undivided attention. Presence multiplies the value of your time because it allows you to fully experience and maximize each moment. Valuing time also requires disciplining how you structure your day. Without structure, time slips away unnoticed. Hours disappear in aimless activity, and by the end of the day, you wonder where it went. But when you plan your time, when you schedule your priorities, when you commit to routines, you take control. Time no longer controls you, you control it. Even a simple daily routine, when practiced consistently, can transform your productivity and your results. Structure doesn't restrict you, it liberates you, because it ensures your time is spent on what truly matters. It's important to recognize that valuing time doesn't mean you never rest or enjoy life. Rest is not wasted time. It's an investment in your energy and focus. But the key is intentionality. Rest with purpose, not by accident. Take breaks that recharge you, not distractions that drain you. Leisure is valuable when it renews your spirit and prepares you to go harder after your goals. But mindless waste of time, scrolling endlessly, gossiping, indulging in unproductive habits, only steals from you. The difference is purpose. If your rest has purpose, it is valuable. If your activity has no purpose, it is waste. Another truth about time is that once it is gone, regret can be heavy. Many people in their later years look back and realize they wasted their best years on things that didn't matter. They realized too late that they had dreams they never pursued. There is a moment in every journey where the difference between success and stagnation comes down to persistence. Not talent, not intelligence, not even resources, persistence. Life has a way of testing whether you are truly serious about what you say you want. It throws obstacles in your path. It delays results. It tempts you to give up when things don't come easily. The people who win are not those who never encounter setbacks. They are the ones who refuse to quit when setbacks arrive. Persistence is that relentless spirit that says, I will not stop no matter how many times I fail, no matter how long it takes, no matter how heavy the burden feels. It's about holding on when others let go. It's about pushing one more step when your body and mind are telling you to quit. It's about choosing to keep moving forward, even if all you can manage is a crawl. When we look at success stories that inspire us, persistence is the common thread. Take inventors, entrepreneurs, athletes, leaders, none of them arrived at greatness in a straight line. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before creating the light bulb, but he didn't label those failures as final defeats. He saw them as steps in the process. Michael Jordan, often celebrated as one of the greatest basketball players of all time, was cut from his high school team. Did he quit? No, he persisted, practiced harder, and became legendary. These examples remind us that persistence transforms rejection into resilience and setbacks into stepping stones. Without persistence, their stories would have ended in disappointment. But because they persisted, the world remembers them for their triumphs. Persistence is about embracing the long game. In a world that glorifies instant gratification, persistence is countercultural. Everyone wants quick results, but meaningful success rarely happens overnight. Building something lasting, whether it's a career, a business, a relationship, or personal growth, takes time. Persistence means understanding that setbacks, plateaus, and delay are part of the process, not signs that you should stop. Too many people quit right before the breakthrough because they confuse delay with denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't happen. It simply means you must persist until it does. Persistence also demands a stronger why. It's hard to keep going when the journey gets tough if you don't know why you started in the first place. Your why becomes the anchor that keeps you steady when storms come. If your goal is shallow or based on pleasing others, you will likely give up when the road gets difficult. But if your purpose is rooted deeply, if it connects to your heart, your values, and your vision for your life, you will persist because the fight becomes bigger than the struggle. Your why will remind you that the pain of persistence is temporary, but the reward is permanent. Persistence requires resilience in the face of failure. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the success process. Every time you persist through failure, you're stronger, wiser, and more prepared. Each failed attempt sharpens your strategy and builds your character. Persistence turns failure into feedback, and feedback into fuel. People who persist understand that setbacks don't define them. They refine them. They don't see failure as a dead end, but as a detour that still leads to the destination. There's also a mental toughness to persisting. Your mind will often try to convince you to quit long before your body actually needs to. Negative thoughts, doubts, and fears creep in, whispering, you can't do this. You're not good enough. You're not worth it. Persistence silences those voices. It says, I hear the doubt, but I choose to act anyway. It's not about never feeling like quitting. It's about feeling like quitting, but deciding not to. Persistence means developing the discipline to override temporary feelings in service of long-term goals. Feelings are fleeting. Commitment must be unshakable. Another crucial piece of persistence is patience. You cannot rush the process. Seeds don't grow into trees overnight, and neither do dreams. Persistence requires you to keep showing up even when progress is invisible. Just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean your effort is wasted. Think about water dripping on stone. At first, it seems like nothing is happening, but over time, those drops carve through rock. Persistence works the same way. It may not look like you're making a difference at first, but your consistent effort is shaping your destiny in ways you cannot yet see. Persistence is not glamorous. It doesn't always look like a bold victory. More often, it looks like quietly doing the work when no one notices it. It's waking up early, staying late, practicing daily, studying relentlessly, and making sacrifices others aren't willing to make. Persistence often requires solitude because most people won't understand why you're still holding on when things look impossible. But persistence is lonely only until it pays off. Then suddenly, everyone admires your overnight success, forgetting the years of persistence that built it. There's also a humility to persistence. It's the willingness to start over, to try again, to learn from mistakes without letting pride get in the way. Persistence doesn't mean doing the same thing repeatedly with no change. It means adapting, adjusting, and trying again with new wisdom. Some people confuse persistence with stubbornness. Stubbornness refuses to change. Persistence flexible but unrelenting. It's willing to shift strategies, but it never abandons the mission. That's why persistence produces results where talent and opportunity alone fall short. On a deeper level, persistence builds character. When you persist, you cultivate discipline, endurance, and grit. These qualities spill over into every area of your life. Persistence in one goal strengthens your ability to persist in others. For example, the persistence you develop in pursuing education helps you persist in relationships, careers, and personal growth. Persistence shapes you into someone who doesn't fold under pressure, but thrives in it. Over time, this character becomes more valuable than the achievement itself because it equips you to face any challenge life throws your way. Think about the alternative to persistence, quitting. When you quit, you guarantee that you'll never see the outcome you hope for. Quitting may provide temporary relief from struggle, but it leaves behind regret. Regret is heavier than persistence because while persistence demands effort, regret demands you carry the weight of wondering what could have been. Many people live with that burden, wishing they had persisted just a little longer. Don't let that be your story. Choose the temporary pain of persistence over the lifelong pain of regret. Persistence is also contagious. When you persist, you inspire others. Your resilience becomes an example for those around you, your family, friends, colleagues, and even strangers. People draw strength from watching someone who refuses to quit. Your persistence might give someone else the courage to keep fighting their own battle. That's the beauty of persistence. It not only changes your life, but it can spark hope and determination in the lives of others. At its core, persistence is faith in action. It's believing that your efforts will eventually pay off, even when evidence seems scarce. It's trusting the process, trusting yourself, and trusting that your hard work is not in vain. Persistence is the bridge between desire and fulfillment, between dreaming and achieving. Without persistence, even the best opportunities slip away. With persistence, even the most impossible dreams become attainable. So, when the road gets tough, and it will remember that persistence is your greatest ally. When you feel exhausted, when you feel overlooked, when you feel like nothing is working, remind yourself that persistence is the key. The journey may take longer than you expected, and the obstacles may be greater than you imagined, but if you keep going, you will get there. Persistence is not about speed. It's about endurance. It's not about how quickly you reach the finish line, but about whether you refuse to stop until you cross it. At the end of the day, persistence is a choice. Every day, you decide whether to push forward or give up. Every day, you decide whether to listen to doubt or trust in the process. Every day, you choose persistence or surrender. And the choices you make daily shape the destiny you will live. If you choose persistence, there's nothing life can throw at you that you cannot overcome. Because persistence doesn't just change your results. It changes who you are. It makes you stronger, wiser, and unshakable. And when you embody persistence, you don't just survive the challenges of life, you conquer them. Every great message, every powerful journey, and every bold vision must eventually arrive at a point of closure. And yet the ending is never really the end. End is the transition into action. You can listen to speeches, you can take notes, you can even feel inspired in the moment. But if nothing changes after this, then it was just another moment of temporary excitement. The true conclusion of this speech is not in these final words, but in the life you choose to live once you walk away from them. It's about taking everything you've heard, the call to focus, the reminder of discipline, the urgency of execution, the demand for persistence, and deciding that you will no longer wait for the perfect time, no longer give excuses, no longer settle for average. It's time to get it done, and only you can make that choice. In the end, every single person has two voices competing inside them. One says, rest, wait, it's too hard. You can try later, you can start tomorrow. The other said, do it now, rise up, push through, finish strong. The voice you feed will determine the future you experience. If you feed the voice of delay and excuse, your dreams will remain locked away, suffocated by procrastination. But if you feed the voice of action, if you choose to get up and get it done, you will taste the satisfaction of accomplishment and the freedom of knowing you gave your all. Life is short, and the window to chase your dreams is not infinite. There will come a day when you no longer have the chance to try again, when your opportunities have passed, and when all you're left with are memories of what you did or regrets of what you did, or regrets of what you did. That's why the conclusion to this message is a plea. Think about what your life will look like if you never change. Picture yourself in 5 years doing the same thing, making the same excuses, staying stuck in the same place. Does that excite you, or does it make you feel frustrated? If it frustrates you, then today must be the turning point. Nothing changes until you decide it must. Every success story begins with a decision to stop waiting and start moving. The decision itself doesn't make you successful, but it sets you on the path where success becomes possible. That's what today is about. This is the day you draw a line in the sand and say, no more putting it off, no more hoping without action, no more empty promises to myself. Today is the day I begin to get it done. You have to understand that the conclusion of this journey is not a comfortable life, not a guaranteed win, not even the applause of people around you. The real conclusion is transformation. The person you become when you decide to take action, when you decide to fight through resistance, when you decide to finish what you start, that person is the prize. The money, the recognition, the success, those are byproducts. The real reward is becoming disciplined, becoming resilient, becoming unstoppable. That is why this matters so much, because if you never get it done, you never become who you were meant to be. And let's be honest, the road will not be easy. Nothing worth having is ever easy. You will face challenges that will test your patience, opposition that will test your strength, and moments of failure that will test your faith. But none of those moments are reasons to stop. They are reasons to push harder. You cannot quit every time you hit resistance and expect to reach greatness. Greatness belongs to those who keep going when others stop. It belongs to those who see obstacles not as barriers, but as opportunities to prove their determination. The conclusion to this message is simple. When the journey gets hard, and you cannot quit. You must finish. You must persist until it's done. Some of you have dreams you've been carrying for years. Maybe you've been afraid to start because you didn't feel ready. Maybe you started but gave up halfway. Maybe you've been waiting for resources, support, or the perfect moment. But deep down, you know the truth. You've been waiting too long. You've let fear and doubt keep you in the shadows. But hear this clearly, there will never be a perfect time. The only time you have is now. And if you won't do it now, you likely won't do it later. That's why this conclusion is urgent. It is a call to act before you lose another year, another season, another opportunity. Think about legacy. What will people remember about you? Will they remember someone who dreamed but never acted? Someone who started but never finished? Or will they remember someone who went after it relentlessly, who refused to let excuses win, who left behind a story that inspires others? Legacy is built through action, through persistence, through finishing. The world doesn't remember what you almost did. It remembers what you got done. This is your chance to write a legacy worth remembering. And persistence, as we've discussed, is not just about holding on. It's about growing stronger through the struggle. Every time you push forward despite setbacks, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you imagine. Every time you keep going, you add another layer of strength, another layer of resilience, another layer of character. The conclusion of persistence is transformation. The you who finishes will not be the same as the you who started. You will be sharper, tougher, wiser, and hungrier for more. That is why quitting is never an option. Quitting denies you the transformation that only persistence can provide. You also need to understand that this isn't just about you. Your decision to get it done affects the people around you, your family, your friends, your children, your community. Someone is watching you right now, hoping you succeed, needing you to prove that it's possible. When you persist, you give others permission to believe in themselves. When you finish, you inspire someone else to start. Your victory is not just your own, it becomes a light for others. Don't think of your journey as selfish. It is deeply connected to the lives you influence. That's why you cannot afford to give up. Too many people are waiting on you to get it done. This conclusion is also a reminder about time. We think we have endless time, but we don't. Every day you delay is a day you never get back. Time is the most valuable currency, and unlike money, you can't earn more of it. Once it's gone, it's gone. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. If you want to live a life free of regret, you must respect time by acting now. The conclusion is not complicated. Your time is limited, so don't waste it. Use it. Get it done while you still have the chance. Finally, the conclusion of this message is a choice. Will you go back to your old patterns, your excuses, your waiting? Or will you rise up and decide that this is your moment? No one can make that choice for you. No one can force you to take action. The power is in your hands. You can either leave here inspired but unchanged, or you can leave here determined and transformed. The choice is yours. And remember, the cost of doing nothing is far greater than the cost of trying and failing. At least if you try, you grow. If you do nothing, you stay the same, and staying is the biggest failure of all. So here is the challenge as we close. Pick one thing you've been delaying, one thing you've been afraid of, one thing you've been putting off, and start it today. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for certainty. Start messy. Start small. Start afraid if you must. But start. Because once you start, momentum will follow. And once momentum builds, persistence will carry you. And once persistence is in place, nothing can stop you. This conclusion is not the end of a speech. It is the beginning of your next chapter. It's the spark to set your journey on fire. It's the push you needed to stop thinking and start doing. So take it seriously. Don't just nod along. Don't just clap and move on. Commit. Commit to yourself. Commit to your goals. Commit to getting it done no matter what. Because in the end, your life will not be measured by what you dreamed of, what you planned, or what you intended. It will be measured by what you actually did. And if you want your life to be a story worth telling, the only way is simple. It's time to get it done. Discipline is one of the most powerful forces in the pursuit of success, yet it is often the most neglected. Many people think motivation alone will carry them to their dreams, but motivation is fleeting. It rises and falls depending on your mood, your circumstances, or the environment around you. Discipline, on the other hand, is steady, consistent, and unwavering. It is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up early when your body says stay in bed. It's working on your craft when your friends are relaxing. It's making sacrifices today because you're focused on the bigger reward tomorrow. Discipline is not glamorous, but it is the foundation of greatness. Without it, even the most talented individuals will fall short, while those with average ability but unbreakable discipline will rise. The truth about discipline is that it requires commitment to the process, not just the outcome. Everyone loves the idea of success. Everyone loves the idea of winning, of being recognized, of living the dream, but discipline demands that you fall in love with the process that leads to those outcomes. It's about showing up every single day, whether you feel like it or not. If you only work when you're inspired, you'll never achieve anything lasting. Discipline teaches you to separate your actions from your feeling. You may feel tired, unmotivated, or frustrated, but if you are disciplined, you still take the necessary steps. This is what builds consistency, and consistency is what builds results. Think about the strongest structures in the world. Bridges, skyscrapers, monuments. They are not built overnight. They are constructed brick by brick, steel by steel, day after day. Discipline works the same way. It's the steady laying of bricks, the repeated actions, the daily grind that no one applauds, but that makes the foundation unshakable. When you are disciplined, you don't skip the small steps because you understand that small steps compound into massive achievements. The workout you didn't skip, the book you kept reading, the skill you kept practicing, these become the cornerstones of your success. One of the challenges people face with discipline is the battle with instant gratification. We live in a world where everything is quick, fast food, instant entertainment, social media lights. We are trained to want everything now, but discipline demands that you delay gratification. It's choosing the hard work today for the reward tomorrow. It's resisting the urge to quit when progress feels slow because you understand that meaningful results take time. Discipline forces you to think long-term instead of seeking quick wins. Every person who has achieved greatness, whether in sports, business, or life, has mastered the art of delaying gratification through discipline. Discipline also demands structure and routine. Success does not happen by accident, it happens by design. If your days are scattered, if you are constantly reacting instead of planning, discipline will be hard to maintain. That's why disciplined people create systems, morning routines, schedules, priorities that keep them aligned with their goals. They know that if they rely on willpower alone, they will fail because willpower is limited. But discipline is about building habits so ingrained that they become second nature. Once something becomes a habit, it no longer requires constant decision-making. It becomes automatic. That's how discipline transforms your life, but it turns effort into a lifestyle. But let's be clear, discipline is not about perfection. You will stumble. You will have days when you fall short. Discipline is not about never failing. It's about not letting failure stop you. It's about recognizing your slip-up, correcting it, and getting back on track without delay. Too many people quit because they think discipline means never making mistakes. In reality, discipline means bouncing back faster, learning from mistakes, and refusing to let setbacks derail the journey. It's about resilience, the determination to stay locked in, even when the road gets tough. Discipline also requires sacrifice. And this is where most people struggle. Discipline means saying no to distractions, no to shortcuts, no to things that don't align with your vision. It means sacrificing comfort, growth, pleasure for progress, ease for excellence. While others are indulging in temporary satisfaction, disciplined individuals are investing in their future. That sacrifice can feel painful in the moment, but it pays dividends later. Think of a student who studies while others party at the end of the road. Their discipline opens doors others can only dream of. Discipline is the price of success. And if you are unwilling to pay that price, you cannot expect the reward. A powerful aspect of discipline is that it builds freedom. This may sound contradictory because people often think discipline is restrictive. But the truth is, discipline gives you control over your life. Without discipline, you are at the mercy of your impulses, emotions, and external influences. You eat whatever you crave, you spend whenever you feel like it, you quit whenever things get tough. That is not freedom. That is slavery to your weaknesses. True freedom comes from discipline because it allows you to take control of your choices, your habits, and your destiny. The person with discipline is not bound by temporary feelings. They are guided by purpose. Another truth about discipline is that it compounds over time. In the beginning, it feels hard because you're fighting old habits, laziness, and distractions. But the more disciplined you become, the easier it gets. Each act of discipline strengthens your mental muscles, making the next act easier. Eventually, discipline becomes your default mode. You no longer struggle to do the hard things. They become part of who you are. This compounding effect is why disciplined people often appear to have incredible willpower. They don't rely on willpower anymore. They rely on habits built through years of discipline. Discipline also separates leaders from followers. A leader is someone who not only holds themselves accountable, but inspires others through their discipline. People respect discipline because it's rare. It's easy to talk, to dream, to make promises. But disciplined individuals stand out because they consistently deliver. They don't just say they'll do something, they actually do it. Over time, this consistency builds trust, credibility, and influence. Discipline makes you reliable, and reliability is the foundation of leadership. It's also important to understand that discipline doesn't mean being rigid or inflexible. Discipline is about alignment with your goals, not about punishing yourself. It's about making conscious choices that keep you moving forward, not about depriving yourself of everything enjoyable in life. The difference is that a disciplined person enjoys life within boundaries that don't compromise their vision. They know when to work and when to rest, when to push and when to pause. Their discipline doesn't suffocate them, it empowers them. One of the greatest gifts of discipline is that it prepares you for adversity. Life is unpredictable and challenges will come. When you have discipline, you are better equipped to handle those challenges because you've trained yourself to stay consistent under pressure. You built a mental toughness to keep going even when circumstances aren't ideal. That's why disciplined individuals often thrive in situations where others crumble. They don't need perfect conditions to move forward. They rely on discipline to carry them through. If you look at history, every great achiever has been marked by discipline. Athletes train for years, often waking up before sunrise, sticking to strict diets, and enduring pain most people would never tolerate. Writers discipline themselves to sit at the desk every day, even when inspiration doesn't strike. Entrepreneurs work long hours, reinvesting profits instead of splurging, staying focused when others would have given up. The pattern is clear. Discipline is the silent engine behind every story of success. At its core, discipline is about self-respect. When you practice discipline, you are proving to yourself that your goals, your future, and your dreams matter. You're showing that you value yourself enough to put in the work. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you reinforce the belief that you are worthy of success. And the more you live in discipline, the more you attract opportunities because the world recognizes and rewards those who are committed. Ultimately, discipline is not just about achieving external success. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. It shapes your character, strengthens your mind, and aligns your actions with your values. When you are disciplined, you live with integrity. Your behavior matches your intentions. You stop being a person of empty words and become a person of powerful actions. Discipline is the bridge, not just to your goals, but to your higher self. So when the path gets hard, when motivation fades, when distractions tempt you, remember that discipline is your anchor. It is the force that keeps you steady, the habit that keeps you moving, the commitment that guarantees results. Discipline doesn't ask if you feel like it. It demands that you do it regardless. And if you embrace discipline fully, there's no dream too big, no obstacle too great, no challenge too overwhelming. Discipline will carry you to the finish line when everything else falls short.